All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. So I want to talk about the QuietCool whole house attic fan that I installed in my house about 5 months ago. I installed it right before the summertime, and so I've had the whole summer and now part of the fall to get some experience, some usage with it. So I want to share my review and how it's holding up and would I recommend it. So just a recap on what the QuietCool whole house attic fan is. It's a big, powerful fan unit that sits up in the attic of your house. And then it sucks air. There's a grill that sucks air from the inside of your house up through the attic and exhausts it into the attic. And the purpose of this is to suck air from your windows. So when you open your windows up, any window in your house that you open up, and then you turn on your QuietCool fan, it's going to suck air from those windows through your house, exhaust it up through the grate in the roof of your ceiling. And then it's going to bring cool, fresh air from outside. It's going to help also cool down the attic. In the summertime, spring and fall, when that attic gets hot, it's going to be like an oven in your attic. And therefore that heat's going to radiate into your house, and that's really what your air conditioning unit is working against in the summertime. That you have a really hot attic, it's not going to be able to get cooled down, and so you just have that hot air in your attic for all night long, and it's heating your house up. And so the whole house attic fan, essentially what it does is it's sucking air from the outside, helping cool down the attic, and then cooling down the inside air as well. Now I use this as a supplementary cooling source for my house. I have central air conditioning, in a few rooms I have ductless mini splits, and so what I was trying to achieve with this is to really help try to cool down the house when the outside temperature is lower than the inside temperature. To give you an example, for most of August I was not able to use the whole house attic fan, and the reason why is for a lot of August is generally, July and August are generally the hottest months in my area. And for most of those times, the outside temperature overnight, evening, daytime highs were above 80 degrees. And so I wasn't going to open my windows and bring in air that was warmer than 80 degrees and higher into my house and exhaust it into my attic. I wasn't going to do that. My air conditioning unit was keeping the air cooler than that inside the house, so therefore I wasn't using it. Really, if you're looking for something for like just summertime use, like June, July, August, that's a really hot time, your house is really hot. I didn't use it a ton of times over those really 3 hot months. I'm really excited to use it this fall and then springtime, because when it's cooler outside, that's when you use it. Now, how I use it is I open up some windows. I have a 3-story house. I have a basement, a main floor, and then my 3rd level is like a bonus room above my garage, and it gets warm up there because that's the highest point of my house. And so what I'll do is I'll open up a couple of my windows, areas that I want to cool the house down when the temperatures drop, let's say down to 70, 75 degrees or even below 70 degrees. I'll open up those windows, I'll turn the QuietCool on, and it'll just start sucking that outside air. What that's allowed me to do is to save on air conditioning costs or electricity costs. I don't have to run my air conditioning unit to cool my house down right now because I'm in the fall time where outside temperatures are cooler. I'm using that outside cool air to cool my house down and even cool the attic down. Another thing that I like it for is I have a basement. I have 3 bedrooms in my basement. I also have like kind of a living room in my basement. So there's 4 windows in my basement. If I turn my QuietCool, which is on the 3rd level on the upstairs part of my house, it's powerful enough that if I open all 4 of the windows in my basement and I turn the QuietCool on high, it'll suck air pretty quickly from all of those rooms and living room. All that outside air will come in, cool off the basement, and then rise up and go out through the QuietCool vent out the attic. What that allows me to do is it allows me to like refresh the air in the basement. I really like bringing in some nice, cool, fresh air into the basement. It seems like the basement can get a little stale, stagnant air sometimes, and this is a way to bring in nice, cool, fresh air into the basement. As far as the noise is concerned, it doesn't have a lot of noise. When it is on high and I'm in the main living room area where this unit is, you can hear it. There is a hum to it. So it does have some noise to it, but when we're in the bedrooms, like for example, sleeping at nighttime, it can barely be heard even when it's on high. And so the noise hasn't been an issue, but I did purposely install it away from all of the bedrooms that we're sleeping in, so that way if it's running on high, I'm not going to have to hear it overnight. So I've had a couple people reach out and ask me, how quickly does it take to cool your house down with one of these? And really the answer is it depends. Now the big determining factor is what is the outside temperature. Now if the outside temperature is 10 degrees different than it is inside, let's say your house is 80 degrees and it's 70 degrees outside, and you open that window and you turn it on high, in under, I would say 15-20 minutes, it's going to cool that house down at least by 5 degrees. It can cool down a house really quickly, especially with the QuietCool on high. It sucks in a lot of air and it really cools down the house very quickly. So within 10-15 minutes, the house is going to feel significantly cooler. But if the outside air is only a few degrees cooler, it's not going to feel as cool. But where it does feel cool is the airflow. The amount of airflow that this thing sucks is really tremendous. A lot of air is getting pushed through this fan. So even if the outside air is only a few degrees cooler, let's say it's 80 degrees inside your house and it's only 76 or 77 degrees outside, you want to cool the house down. Sucking in that air, just that airflow through the window, like a huge breeze through all of the windows you have open, is really going to make it feel a lot cooler. Now, if there's a significant change, let's say it's 80 degrees in your house and it's 60 degrees outside, it's going to cool down, 10-15 minutes. Your house is going to feel very cool because of that amount of airflow. And one thing that's helpful is this QuietCool is going to help keep the attic cooler. The attic really is a big source of the heat in the summertime of your house. At least it is in mine. And so I usually just run it on low overnight when I have those cooler temperatures, so that way the attic is going to get cooled down, and therefore I don't have to run my air conditioning unit at night because the attic is being cooled down. So really the concept of this unit is to bring that cool, fresh outside air into your home, exhaust all of the existing air into your attic, and help cool the attic down. That's kind of how it works. So there's no cooling, there's no air conditioning unit, there's no Freon, there's nothing like that. It's really just sucking air from the outside, cooling your house down from your windows with the outside air. Kind of going through a cost breakdown. I did an installation video on this. I'll leave a link to that down below. So I'm not going to go through the installation. I installed this myself. I paid about $1,700 on this. I bought mine from Amazon. It was shipped directly to my house. I had to buy a few other supplies like some electrical supplies. I had to wire a plug up in my attic. So probably around $1,800 total was my cost. I would guess if you're going to have this installed, a professional is probably going to charge between $400 to $800 or maybe even more to get it installed. So for me, it was worth doing it myself, trying to install it myself. It wasn't that bad. It did take some effort to get up in the attic. Crawling around the attic is always a hassle. It's always a challenge, but I was able to do it myself. Now, thinking about, is it worth it? Was it worth the investment? It is saving me electricity, at least like this month in September. October, it's going to save me. Over the wintertime, I'm going to use it by bringing in fresh air from outside into my house. I'm going to use this for most of the months, probably not July, August. Those were some of the hottest that we've had, and so those are the hottest months in my area. So I didn't use it a ton. I would use it if there was like, let's say we had a couple of days where it was like a rainstorm over the summer and it dropped those temperatures down to 65 degrees. I opened my windows up, turned the QuietCool on, brought that cool air from outside in. So there was a few times in those hot months that I used it, but I can see using this a lot more during the fall, winter, and spring months to really help heat and cool the house. So the big question is, would I recommend this? Would I do this again? I would say yes. I'm glad that I got this. I haven't realized a ton of electricity savings yet. I've only had this for 4 or 5 months now. So there hasn't been a ton of savings. There's been a little bit of savings, but over the course of having this, over the course of 5-10 years, that's going to add up. It's also reducing the strain on my AC HVAC system, the heating and the cooling system. I'm not having to run that as much because I'm using this to help cool it down. So that I think is also some savings where I'm not going to have to replace my AC unit as soon as. Things I wanted to point out on the timer switch. I have the wireless timer switch on this. And so what that means is when I go to turn it on, there's just a keypad. I keep it by my thermostat. It can really be anywhere in the house, but I chose to mount it on the wall. But it has a timer, so it goes from 1 to 12 hours. You can do the timer, and then you can do high and low. Mine only does high and low. My fan, which is fine. That's been sufficient for me. But let's say I want to run the fan for 1 hour. I hit the 1 hour button on the timer, and then I can switch from high to low. I can switch that. Now, if I only want to run it for 20 minutes and I want to turn the fan off, I have to toggle through. I have to push the timer button. I've got to go all the way through all of the timer settings and back to 0 so that it resets. So that's kind of an inconvenience as far as having to turning it off after I have it on. But otherwise, the wireless switch, the wireless controllers work really well. Hadn't had any problems other than that, just little quirkiness to it with trying to turn it off sooner than when the time expires. So I'm really happy with this. I'm really glad I did it. I think it's going to provide some savings. It's really helping keep my house cooler, bring in fresh air to my house. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad that I did it. I think it's a worthwhile investment. I'll leave a link to the one that I installed in my house, as well as a link to the video I did where I did the installation video. So guys, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to reach out to me. I'll leave my email down below. Leave a comment down below. See the links to everything mentioned here in the product description down below. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.